That very first sentence, it can literally make or break an entire piece of writing. So today, we're going to build a toolkit for writing the absolute perfect hook, one that grabs a reader from the first word and just refuses to let go. We've all been there, right? Staring at that blinking cursor on a blank page. And maybe, just maybe, we've typed out a question a little something like this one. It's a super common crutch, but today we're going to explore why there are way more powerful ways to begin. So what exactly is a hook? Well, it's pretty simple, really. It's your first and maybe your best chance to get your reader's attention, to make them curious and actually want to keep reading. It really does set the stage for everything that comes next. And that brings us to what I call the blank page problem. We all know this feeling. The hook just feels different from the rest of the essay. There's no magic formula, you know? There's just this intense pressure to be creative and original right out of the gate, and that can be completely paralyzing. Okay, but let's be real for a second. You might be sitting there thinking, if I'm not actually getting graded on the hook, why should I even bother? And you know what? That is a totally fair question. But the answer might surprise you. It is a loud, resounding yes. So let's pull back the curtain and really dig into why this one little sentence has so much power. Because it's not just about impressing your reader. It's an incredibly important tool for you, the writer. A great hook does a ton of work. First off, it's a huge confidence booster. When you nail that opening, you get this amazing momentum. It's also like a battering ram for writer's block. It just gets words on the page. And it's one of the few places in formal writing where you can get creative and let your voice really shine. And of course, the big one, it engages your reader from the very first word. All right, so you're sold on why they matter. But how do you actually write one? Well, let's open up the Writer's Toolkit and look at 4 super powerful, totally reliable types of hooks that you can use for pretty much any essay you have to write. First up, we have the startling factor statistic. This one is a killer. It's a fantastic way to immediately sound like an expert and make your reader lean in and think, whoa, I had no idea. It's especially powerful for those analytical or research-heavy essays. So for instance, pretend you're writing about how freelancers manage their time. Opening with a number like this, something like, nearly 70% of freelancers struggle to manage their time effectively. That immediately frames the problem with a solid, powerful, concrete number. Just look at the contrast here. The generic statement on the left is fine, but it's forgettable. The impactful one on the right, though, armed with that specific statistic, bam, it grabs you. It's concrete, it sounds authoritative, and it makes you want to know more. Okay, next up in our toolkit, the anecdote. Think of this as a mini story. This works so well because as humans, we are just wired for stories. They feel personal, they humanize your topic, and they connect with the reader on an emotional level. This is absolutely perfect for personal narratives or persuasive essays. Now, the key with an anecdote is to be super focused. This is all about the principle of enter late, leave early. The example on the left is way too broad. It gives all this backstory. The one on the right, though, it drops you right into a descriptive, compelling scene. It gets to the point so much faster. Let's move on to tool number 3, the bold claim. This is your go-to for argumentative essays. You make a strong, really thought-provoking statement that kind of challenges what the reader believes and makes them want to see how on earth you're going to back it up. You can really see the difference here, right? Not enough clean water is a fact. Sure, but it's boring. The bold claim, on the other hand, paints this urgent, dramatic picture. It immediately creates stakes and makes the reader need to understand your argument. And our final tool is the metaphor. A really good metaphor can take a super complex or abstract idea and, just like that, make it understandable and memorable. It does this by comparing it to something we're all familiar with. It's just a brilliant tool for explanatory or creative writing. I mean, the statement on the left is accurate, but the metaphor is powerful. It creates this vivid mental image. You can almost feel the stomach drop. It communicates the idea of volatility and excitement so much more effectively. That's the real magic of a great metaphor. So now that you've got your tools, let's talk about what to avoid. Because there are a few common traps that are super easy to fall into, and they can make even the most brilliant ideas sound a little unoriginal or even immature. First up, the dictionary definition. Oh, this is such a classic trap. Unless your entire essay is about the definition of a word, this just feels like a crutch. It's totally unoriginal, and let's be honest, it's the fastest way to put your reader to sleep. Next, the imagine this trap. Now, look, the intention behind this is good. You want to paint a picture, but the phrase itself has just become a huge cliche. Instead of telling the reader to imagine something, just drop them right into the action with vivid language. Show them, don't just tell them.
And here we are, full circle, the rhetorical question. A have you ever question rarely makes the reader stop and think deeply. More often than not, it just comes across as a little lazy, and it can really undermine the credibility you're trying to build from the very first sentence.
Okay, I've saved the absolute best for last. This is the single most effective trick I know for writing a truly fantastic hook. Now, it's going to sound a little weird, a little counterintuitive, but I promise you, this works. Here it is, write your hook last. Seriously. First, write the entire body of your essay. Then, when you're done, go back and read it. Look for the gold, that single most surprising statistic, that most powerful quote, or that boldest claim you made. Pull that amazing gem right to the front and build your killer opening around it. Ultimately, that first sentence is your handshake with the reader. It's an intentional choice. So now that you have the toolkit, now that you have the secret, what are you going to choose to say?